Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome back to an all new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies video, and boy do I have an interesting video for you today talking about Richtofen/Eddie. So obviously within the Tag der Toten ending cutscene, when the universe was rebooted, the child version of Samantha and also Richtofen in the form of Eddie stepped through the light into the new rebooted universe, and thus far we only have Samantha Maxis introduced to us, now grown up in her 30s. But obviously a version of Richtofen similarly exists within this universe too, the grown-up version of Eddie. And he may indeed be this character that was stalking Samantha within the Maschine intro cutscene, trying to cover his face as if she might recognize him. The character does look somewhat similar to Richtofen too. After all, it has been years since Eddie and Samantha entered this new universe. For all we know, they haven't spoken to each other for years. For all we know, they fell out a while ago. Maybe Eddie could in fact be a spy for Omega, the rival to Requiem. After all, this character appears to follow Samantha in the ending of this cutscene in a blue car, and when Richtofen was in control of the zombies, the eyes were blue. When Samantha was in control of the zombies, the eyes were yellow, and she steps into a yellow telephone booth. So there could be some colour coordinated imagery, but I'm sure you already know all of this information that I have just discussed. I just thought I would recap that real quick for the new people watching this video. However, we have some new intel from the Onslaught version of Nuketown in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, and this is very exciting. So I'm going to play the intel for you right now, and then I will come back and talk a little bit about it.
Only reason I'm here is cause my bandmate stumped me in the desert when I puked in the van. Fuckers can't take a joke! Anyhow, these hippies at the Nuketown Collective saved me from dying of thirst and gave me a place to crash. So I guess I owe them something. For sure, they didn't deserve to go out like they did. They threw a barbecue today, which is funny, cause they're vegetarians. I was playing my guitar on the other side of the house when it happened. It was... I don't know what it was. Looked like the air ripping open. Anyone close went glassy-eyed and just attacked! Like actual murder. Here's the thing. These common losers are pacifists, like fuck the government and fuck the war merchants and all. But if you go for my throat, I'm not answering with a hug. So I was the only one fighting back. All I had was my guitar, but if you ever saw one wreck an amplifier, you know why they call it an axe. I caved him some skulls, which is not as fun as it sounds. Long story short, whatever they caught is contagious. Too many fucked up murder hippies to deal with. So I ran back to my room. I hear them outside, but they didn't know where I hid. Only other person who didn't catch it is Days China, not using her dumbass hippie name. I see China's window from mine. She saw me and taped a note. Keith! Soldiers coming! Run away! Fuck that! I'm staying put and letting the experts handle this. Might write a song while I wait, if I can get my poor guitar back in tune.
So far the intel for the Onslaught maps hasn't really been that relevant to the main storyline for Cold War Zombies. It's kind of just explained how the characters in the nearby vicinity of the Dark Ether Rifts reacted to the outbreak. However, this piece of intel in the files of the game is referred to as Eddie. Yes, that is right, this image file is literally called Eddie, and if we actually look at the intel description, it says Eddie, punks ain't pacifists, Nuketown 84, Eddie's hippie neighbours finally give up being vegetarians, aka they start eating flesh. So yeah, this confirms the return of Eddie. I'm hoping we see him in the next DLC then. However, the interesting thing is as you just heard from the intel, the character reads, I see Gina's window from mine. She saw me and taped up a note. Keith, soldiers coming, run away. So it appears as though this character is called Keith, however in the files of the game, the intel is called Eddie. So what on earth is going on here? Now I need to give a huge shout out to Cyrus or Nukehead, and I will leave a link to his social media down in this video's description. He's talented with voice acting and I got him to read that intel in the voice of Richtofen. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this intel. Could Eddie potentially be undercover and going by a different alias of Keith? That would be quite a weird name for Richtofen. He goes from being this badass to just being called Keith. I don't know why on earth the file name for this intel would be called Eddie, unless it's some sort of mistake, but why would this be a mistake? If we look at the image for the intel itself, it does look like something Richtofen would do. Obviously, there's all of the blood splattered on it from the zombies, and even the drawings of the guitar and the skull, they kind of resemble what Richtofen's drawings would look like, in my own personal opinion. Let me know what you think of this down in the comment section down below. If this Keith character is actually Richtofen, why would Richtofen be at Nuketown? I am a little unsure, however we do learn that the Nuketown in Cold War is not at the same location as the original Nuketown, but it's simply a twin site. The original Nuketown was nuked, and that is the crater that we see in the distance on this new Nuketown. As you can see from this map, there are two different sites. This is the second site, Site B. Obviously the original Nuketown was Camp Edward, so I guess it would make sense for Eddie to be at Nuketown just due to that fact. Now if Eddie is a spy, what I find interesting is we have a new piece of intel from Samantha Maxis with Season 1. I will play that for you right now.
I want you to know that I've been in your shoes, and you can trust Weaver. He's a good man to have in your corner. A good boss. Back in the 70s, West Germany was a major investor and supplier to Iran. In exchange for oil and gas, we propped up their steel industry and aided their nuclear power program. I was there in '79 when the revolution kicked off. Western intelligence agencies coordinated with the CIA to ensure the Shah's safe extraction to the US. But a lot of diplomats and citizens weren't so lucky. Me included. If it wasn't for Weaver's intervention and willingness to go off the books, I'd be a forgotten memory by now. Trust him. Trust me. For now, I'm going to have to go dark. I'm en route to meet a contact in Southeast Asia. He says he knows exactly what Omega Group is planning.
So Samantha Maxis talks about going en route to Southeast Asia, and I believe that location is in fact the Kaisan combat base, the location of DLC 1, set in Vietnam, rumoured to be called Firebase Z, and she says she is going there to meet a contact. We don't know who this contact is, and I'm wondering what if they could be Eddie, especially because the Kaisan combat base is going to be yet another Omega facility, but who knows. By the way, this image that is circulating everywhere online is not real. This was made by TZ Ghost as a joke. Ultimus Richtofen is not in Cold War Zombies. This was just made for fun to parody leaks, because obviously anytime there is a leak, it's always taken on a really low quality phone and it's super blurry and it's hard to make out what is going on. The thing is, we have two more pieces of Nuketown intel. So this first one is from Gina. It reads, "To whom it may concern, and if this doesn't make you concerned, something's seriously wrong with you. My name is Gina Daystar, Casolo, and I founded the Nuketown Collective 3 years ago. I was the first so-called squatter, got the plumber working, painted the first mural, and I personally petitioned the Department of Defense and the governor to legally recognize that despite this being an old nuclear test site, we are not in fact on federal land. I mention this because when your neighbour is Area 51, obviously set close by in Nevada, good fences make good neighbours. Takes on unique significance. I've seen black helicopters and light lights in the sky. I've heard an eerie, almost subsonic late night hum and felt it rattle my bones. I can only guess what terrible experiments are carried out in secret there. That's why I made Nuketown rule number 1. No trespassing on or contact with Area 51 ever. As I write this, my community is shattered. My brothers and sisters are literally tearing each other apart. It started an hour ago with a sound like a human shriek that came from all sides and something that looked like a mini aurora borealis appearing beside the house across the street. They were having a cookout and everyone close to that aurora thing immediately started wailing and moaning as their skin dried up like rotten leather, obviously referring to the dark ether portal and the zombies. I watched through my window as they attacked the others, like coyotes on a jackrabbit, and I'm not even going to try to process my emotions yet. Survival comes first. I don't know if it was radiation, germ warfare, or some sort of chemical weapon, but I have no doubt of the source. We kept our distance, but Area 51's bad science came to us. We have no phone lines out here, so I called for help on my ham radio. I have a friend in Indian Springs who I chat with sometimes. She responded, but a wave of static drowned her out. A very stern, military-sounding voice cut in. Stay put, we are aware of the situation, help is on the way. That was it. No answers to my questions, just stay put, we are on the way. I never thought of an offer of help could sound less reassuring. I locked the doors and windows. I may be paranoid, but I'm considering making a run for it before help arrives. Daystar. Then we have this following piece of intel, which reads, people will judge what I did here, whether I'm still around or not, so I'm saying my piece on paper while I still have the chance. I was here from the start, with Sunny and Daystar. I know everyone here intimately, even that newcomer kid. You have to understand that this is my family, even now I can't give up on them. If your brother or daughter caught rabies or smallpox, would you turn your back on them? I have never liked having an Air Force base for a neighbour, but most days I forgot they were even there. Now helicopters have landed and troops are going door to door. I only dodged them because I saw Daystar's note in the window, the one meant for Keith. I knew the military-industrial complex wasn't coming to rescue us, so I checked Keith's room. I found Astrid, Riverstone, and Mariposa feasting on him like lionesses. I got them to chase me into the basement, ran out and locked them in. The walls are thick, I don't think the soldiers can hear them. So according to this, there was the Dark Ether portal that obviously opened up the Dark Ether rift, and obviously a lot of the citizens within the town started to turn into zombies. This seems like it's contagious due to the Ethereum, but according to this, Keith, who was previously referred to as Eddie for the prior intel, was being feasted on by zombies. So is he dead? Did he survive? They don't necessarily say he is dead, and this is what makes me really confused, because this kind of makes me think, well, maybe it isn't Richtofen, but why is the intel called Eddie then? I have no idea what is going on here. Anyways, the intel continues. They're burning bodies out there. Once they leave, I'll drive into town and let the world know, and then the Pentagon will have to give us the cure. Either that or some idiot soldier will open up my cellar and people will say I set up an ambush. Look, I didn't start this, I just can't let what's left of my family end up in a bonfire of corpses. Harmony. So they seem to be the only person who has survived. The thing is, they do reference earlier on, I know everyone here intimately, even that newcomer kid. Is the newcomer kid Keith, maybe? Which could suggest it was Richtofen undercover or doing something at this site. I don't really know. I mean, after all, in the old Ether storyline, Richtofen did become the undead Richtofen. If he's getting eaten by the zombies, I mean, we could see something similar, but I don't know, this is really odd, and this really does make me question whether this is Richtofen, but like I said earlier, why on earth would the intel be called Eddie? Let me know your thoughts down below. So obviously, Eddie is probably going to show up within the future DLC, whether that be in a future intro cutscene or ending cutscene, he is bound to show up at some point, because he will play an integral part to the storyline, I am sure, especially with Richtofen being such a fan favourite character, and he is the only returning character from our old zombies crew. Ultimus and Primus will not be returning since they have died, they do not exist anymore. But this version of Richtofen managed to survive since Eddie stepped through into the new universe, and obviously he was the purified soul of Richtofen, so he's supposed to be good, but who knows, he could have started to corrupt again, he may still resort to his evil agenda, maybe when exposed to Exo Element 1, Ethereum, and the effects of the Dark Ether. But for all we know, his personality could be completely different to that of Richtofen, obviously with some similarities, but overall he might be quite a different version of Richtofen to the two prior versions, Ultimus and Primus, that we have seen before. Now if you guys are unaware aware, Nolan North, the voice actor of Richtofen, has confirmed on TikTok that he will not be doing the voice of Richtofen in Cold War Zombies. So this means they might be getting a new actor to play the voice of Richtofen. And this kind of makes sense since obviously, as we were saying, his personality is going to be a bit different, so it kind of makes sense that they could get a new voice actor for him, unless Nolan North is just mistaken and Trek just haven't called him in yet. Maybe he will be coming in to record voice lines later on as the DLC season progresses. But I'm sure if he is going to show up within future DLC, I think the probable first mention of him, or maybe first appearance of him in the form of a cutscene, I'm hoping we see him in a cutscene. I hope we don't just hear of him in radios and intel. That would be kind of lame. But I think his first appearance is probably going to be the Berlin Zombies map, which is one of the locations that Gregory Weaver looks at on his computer screen in Die Maschine's intro cutscene. And since both Samantha and what appears to be Eddie were present within Die Maschine's intro cutscene, it would make sense to see them in the Berlin map, surely. Especially because it is rumoured that Nuketown could potentially be a part of that map. The next thing that I want to mention is an Easter egg that I have obviously talked about in a prior video pertaining to Richtofen, found by Super Ericsson over on the Call of Duty Zombies Reddit. So obviously when you go to turn on power and activate the particle accelerator, you are crawling around in the dark and you hear whispers that you can't really make out. Well, Super Ericsson reversed the audio to make out what these whispers are saying, and I will play that for you right now. So this Easter egg is a reference to when Victis were sent into the Dark Ether within Nuketown's ending cutscene. They obviously thought that all of their wishes would be granted, that they were saving the universe, which technically they still did save the universe, although the zombies are back now, but they were betrayed by Primus Richtofen. He didn't let them know that this would be their fate, trapped within the Dark Ether. That is why this voice says, "Help me, I don't want to be inside here." He lied. This has to be referring to Richtofen. But obviously Victis are probably no longer Victis. They will have mutated and corrupted inside of the Dark Ether. They will not be the same Victis that we know them as. They are most likely evil. Especially because we have this piece of intel from the Dark Ether that talks about a character known as Barbara, and she's been in the Dark Ether for quite some time, and she has started to grow a alligator-like mouth and long nails. However, Victis have been in there for much longer than Barbara, so they will have corrupted a lot more. So it is possible that Victis, now mutated, will be very resentful of Richtofen. And I feel like Victis could even potentially be an antagonist in the game, and they may try and manipulate us into unleashing them from the Dark Ether, but they may bring all of the other bad stuff from the Dark Ether too. The Elder Gods, the zombies, and all of the other weird creatures that are inevitably mutated in the Dark Ether, and potentially even the Accursed One, the first one, Dr. Money and the Shadow Man recombined, as the Accursed One will rise again is written on Nuketown's staircase. So Victis could simply be the pawns for the Accursed One to unleash all of the evil from the Dark Ether. Furthermore, we have this quote from Stuhlinger on Classified.
Is this thing on? Richtofen! Hey, Richtofen! You've been gone from my head a really long time. I gotta be honest, I'm freaking out a bit, man. It's so quiet. I can actually hear myself think. Do you know what that's like? It's not nice at all. So, listen, buddy, old pal, we gotta talk. You sent us here, of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark, it's damp, it's just really filthy. I think the roaches are crawling with roaches. How is that even possible? Wait, shoot. Am I even talking to the right Richtofen? Oh. You could be the other one, right? Or the other one. Yeah, you know what? Just go talk to your Richtofen pals at the hoity-toity Ricky Gang Clubhouse and find out what the we're supposed to be doing.
So essentially, in layman's terms, I believe this is right after Victis were sent into the dark ether. Stuhlinger says, "It is dark, damp, crawling with roaches," that pretty much describes the dark ether perfectly. Stuhlinger obviously tried to contact Primus Richtofen because they have that telepathical connection due to Stuhlinger eating the flesh. They are able to communicate through the ether, but when he tried to contact Richtofen, he accidentally contacted the wrong one and contacted Ultimus Richtofen instead. However, he says, "Oh god, what if you are the other one, or the other one?" And I believe that is referring to he could be contacting Ultimus Richtofen, and I believe the other one is the fact that he might be contacting Eddie. So maybe Stuhlinger and also Eddie could still have some sort of telepathical connection, and maybe Stuhlinger could communicate to Eddie via the dark ether. And if that is the case, maybe Stuhlinger, since he would have started to corrupt within the dark ether, could play a role similar to the Shadow Man from the original ether storyline, when obviously Ultimus Richtofen was corrupted from the MPD. He started to become insane and schizophrenic with voices in his head, as the Shadow Man and the many voices of corruption from within the dark ether were talking to him. Well, what if something similar is going to happen where Stuhlinger is instead talking to him and may drive him insane again? And maybe Eddie could be the key to unleashing all of the evil from the dark ether, especially if he is working with the Soviet-led Omega group. That may be his agenda. He may not be working with them for their benefit, but for his own agenda, because he has voices of Stuhlinger within his head. But yeah, that's all just speculation. I'm not entirely sure, obviously, but let me know what you think of my theories and suggestions down in the comment section down below. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.